Welcome. I kind of went ahead of myself a bit with the drawing. Here we have the rest of the changes left to do, which would be to add a bit more volume through small strokes and like a texture through Illustrator. I normally use the brush tool, and I think those little lines that used in this case to finish my character's body in the fire and in different parts of the moon look pretty good in this style. I've also added some flashes and stars as part of the background with the brush. What we're going to do now is to group up our layers until we have the background layer and the character layer. We're going to export our project in PSD format with the adjustments that show up on the screen. It's important to mark that you want to write layers so that when it opens, we can edit them individually. Let's wait now to open our file. We'll look for it. Okay, let's open it. It'll show up like this. For example, I'm going to cut off a bit of the background and increase the base layer to avoid that little transparency line that we have here. I'm also going to increase the background with Ctrl T. I can stretch and it will look a little more uniform. What I'm going to do now is group up all these layers we have here. I'm going to select the folder. I'm going to hit Command E or Ctrl E. In this way, we get a uniform spot. That would be our illustration. Let's choose the right brush for this texture. We want to reproduce its flow. And with our color palette, we apply the texture little by little to give it more of a traditional feel. I'm going to create another layer in case I screw up, so I don't modify at any moment the original. You have to be careful not to go over the top with textures, so as to not lose the details we just added in Illustrator. For now, we're going to be applying the dark areas with caution, trying not to use too much pressure. If we have the mouse, what we can do is pull down the flux a lot, because that's what makes the mouse act stronger in the illustration. Okay, and try to regulate the size manually to avoid it getting too big or too fine. It's just a question of going over things with a lot of care and figuring out what areas we're worried about the most. Now, you can go with some more brightness, but I don't recommend that you go crazy with the lights. This is more calm style that doesn't have any secondary lighting. When you consider that that's enough brushes of texture, and you're happy with the final image, we can proceed to exporting it in JPG. So we can put it on the web, and that way we have it ready for the final lesson of this course. You can touch things up as much as you want, whilst you're saving the layers carefully and not saturizing the illustration too much. I'm happy with this result, so I'm going to export it. I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to save it in PSD just in case I have to change anything. And now we're going to export it for web. We're going to give it the maximum quality. We have to make sure that it's at 100. As the proportions are where I want them to be, I'm just going to save it. I'm just going to give it a different title to be able to conserve it. We hit OK, and we would have it ready for the next lesson. We'll be looking at the last style, which is the cartoon style. Are you ready? See you in the next lesson. Bye.